Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, thanks very much for joining today. So my name's Nathan. I'm the CEO from People's Fundraising, and today we're going to talk about members lotteries. So they're our new tool. So we're bringing out quite a few new, or we have been bringing out quite a few new features of recent. So just a few weeks ago, we brought out tombolas, and we've just enabled Google Pay and Apple Pay a couple of days ago, and now Members Lotteries is that next tool in your arsenal of fundraising tools. So before we go into looking at a members lottery and how to set it up and all the different variations you've got in it, I'll just remind ourselves why, especially from a people's fundraising perspective, we create all of these tools. And so basically, it's all about engaging more with your supporters and empowering your supporters more to fundraise for you. Okay, so I always talk about a fundraising maturity model, whereby when charities and non-profits first go out and engage with their supporters, be they individuals, communities like local schools, local Rotary clubs and whatnot, and also businesses, they ask for donations. And so we know donation fatigue kicks in there. People, if you keep on asking the same supporter base for donations, they won't have the means or inclination to donate to you anymore. And so then non-profits and charities go out to their supporter base and they say, well, why don't you fundraise for us? So that's your um, the old BT My Donate Just Giving type scenario, whereby I'll do a cake bake or marathon run, for example. And again, what we know from the statistics is that only 20% of your supporter base will ever do that sort of thing. And the reason why is you're asking your supporters to do something that's expensive in terms of time, energy, effort, or skill. So if I, walk up Ben Nevis, that's a really big time investment for myself. Or even if I do a cake bake, that's an investment in money or skill even. So I'm not surprised only 20% of our supporter base actually engage in that sort of activity. And so then non-profits and charities realize that they should engage their supporters with more interesting experiences. And so generally what you find is, because we see this all the time, organizations start looking at raffles. And then we're ahead of the game there. And so therefore that's why we provide things like tombolas and members lotteries and things like that. Okay, so the more tools you have to engage your supporter base, the more of the supporter base you will engage. And secondly to that as well, it's about supporter participation. So previously, when you'd go out to your supporter base, you could say, look, if you want to support us, you have to do a cake bake or marathon run and go out to your own supporter base and get donations. But also, you can empower your supporters to set up their own members lotteries or raffles or auctions via our platform. So the platform as a whole really empowers you to engage, but also empowers your supporters to participate in the way they want. Okay. So with that said, let's jump into members lotteries. So members lotteries are also known as, or specializations of them are also known as Club 100 and Club 200 type lotteries. Okay. And the general idea, well, we've got two types of lottery on the platform. But members lotteries, the general idea is that me as a supporter, I buy tickets to the lottery, and that's essentially buying a chance to win. And at the end of a draw period, I win a prize. So very straightforward. Okay. Um, Now the prizes can be anything you want to be. Typically, members lotteries are a share of the income through a draw period. Okay, so generally you have things like Club 100 lotteries or Club 200, 250 lotteries where people may win 30% or 50% of whatever's generated throughout that period, which means from a charity perspective, it's a really low cost, low risk way of running a lottery as well. And it's a really nice way of engaging supporters. Okay. So with that said, I'll jump straight into setting up a members lottery, and we can talk about some of the options that you have with setting up the options. So remember, it's all about keeping the interest with your supporters, engaging them with interesting experiences. Fundraising isn't continually active engagement with your supporters, and you want to present your supporters with something interesting to do, not just it be a passive activity. And it's like, if you want to make a donation, come to our website. It's you continue tell your stories to your supporter base, and then you throughout that conversation you introduce interesting fundraising asks throughout that. And if you do that um, over time, you'll see a lot of engagement with your supporter base. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, and hopefully you can see the People's Fundraising control panel. Okay, so this is what you'll typically see when you log into People's Fundraising as from a charity or non-profit account. On the left-hand side, you have the quick statistics. On the right-hand side, you have your launch pages, which is the fundraising hub and fundraising wall, and also your campaigns. Then you have your tools, graphs, and reports. Okay, so Members Lottery is underneath lottery. There are other YouTube videos talking about lotteries and the other tools. So if you check out our YouTube channel for those, you'll be understand, or you can understand how to set up these other types of pages. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up a members lottery. Um, as with all of our pages, setting up a members lottery is, very, very similar to setting up, say, a raffle page or an auction page or a donation page. And the platform just takes you through setting up the page itself. So let's click Create a Members Lottery. Okay, so every page has a page name. So our page name and a page description. As with most things online, keep the description succinct and to the point. People don't read anything when it comes to websites, so keep it short and succinct. As with all of our pages as well, be they shop pages or raffle pages or auction pages, they're all fundraising pages. And so you can display the total generated on the page should you wish. You can also display the total number of supporters who have made a purchase on the page. You can display the QR code on the page, and you can make it public or not, which means it will appear in search results and it will appear on your wall and fundraising hub pages. Okay, the page address, it will be peoplesfundraising.com/members, or if you're a branded platform, this will be your own domain name, and then you can have whatever you want here. Now, this is where it becomes specific to members lotteries and quite interesting. We have three groups of information that really you can play around with nicely to create really, really different experiences. So you've got the sale dates, the ticket price and quantity, and also the draw frequency and date. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to set up a members lottery that a lot of people would typically think and default to. Okay, so that would be a members lottery that would be, say, drawn every month. Okay, so in the frequency, instead of a week or 2 weeks, I'll specify a month. And do note though the other frequencies. You can have a members lottery that draws every week or 2 weeks, even up to a year. So the year one's quite nice, and I foresee people doing things like our charity's yearly anniversary draw. That's a really nice sort of like type of play on the on. But we're going to do a monthly draw. Now, the first thing you do is you specify a draw date. So we want to, you can, for example, if as this is a monthly draw, we can say maybe draw it at the end of the month or draw it at the beginning of the month. So in this case, we're going to specify a an end of month draw. Okay. Now, once the system has drawn, it will, on the draw date, it will look at the frequency, and then it will increment, or it will change the draw date by, in this case, 1 month. So the draw date will always be incremented by 1 calendar month. Or if it was a year, it will take the draw date and it will change the draw date after draws happened by a year. So you can see these will be drawn at the end of each month, or the end of each quarter, or the end of each half year. And again, you can just play around with them. The system can also notify winners that they have won. Now, this is a really nice feature, and again, it's an option that you should play around with. But don't just rely on the system notifying winners that they have won. So every month, at the end of the month, the system will draw, and if you select this to yes, the system will notify via email the winners of what prize they have won. Now, the reason why we say don't rely on this is the supporter or the winner may not receive that email. Now, they may not receive that email because the email or the supporter may have put in the incorrect email in the first place, or it could be an old email address that the person doesn't use anymore, or they could accidentally have deleted that email, or the email could have gone into their spam folder. So um, I would generally say follow up the winners, and you would also be emailed who has won what each month, and you can also download the members prize report as well. In this case, each month to see who's won what, and then you'll proactively go and contact them. Now, the proactive nature of that is really important in fundraising. Remember, in fundraising, you don't want things to become passive. Okay, so we think any opportunity you have to go out and engage individually or as a group with your supporter base is an excellent way to create a little bit more excitement, to develop the relationship. So don't just think of you going out and talking to the winners that they have won something as an administrative task. Think of it as a marketing activity or an activity whereby you're developing that relationship. Okay, right. So our monthly draw now, we're going to automatically notify the winners, but we recommend you to follow that up. Now, if this is going to be an open-ended type members lottery, and again, a lot of people would expect that, then we anticipate you should set the ticket price quite low. Okay. Interesting enough, raffle tickets, the average raffle ticket price on our platform is £3, we've seen, but people do raffles for £100 a ticket, all the way down to 50p a ticket. So we believe that the average price for an ongoing members lottery should probably be about £3, £1 to £3. Okay. So you enter £3 for the ticket price, and then you specify the available number of tickets. So if this is an ongoing lottery, you'd just put some large number here. Now, with our system, you also specify the minimum and maximum tickets that a supporter can purchase. Now, this in itself is a really important metric to get right. Now, the reason why is that you initially or intuitively, it seems that you would just set this to a really high number. Okay. Now, the problem with setting it to a really high number is that you have just say you have two types of supporter. One supporter who can give a lot of money each month, and another supporter who can only give, say, £5, £10 a month, something like that. Okay. Now, the problem with setting this to a very high number is that the people who can give a lot of money each month, they will more often than not win. Okay. Now that's great for you because you've sold a lot of raffle tickets, or in this case, members lottery tickets. But for the people who can't afford to give very much, what you'll find is that they'll realise that they don't win, and there's a very little chance of them winning. So over time, they will drop out of playing the game. Okay, so we only take parts in games whereby we know there's a good chance of winning. Okay, so really think about this in context of your demographic. Yes, it seems nice that I can just go and pay, spend £500 on tickets. But again, if I do, the person who can only, afford, say, £10, over time they may drop out of your members lottery. Okay, so really think about the maximum that somebody can purchase at any one time. Now, you can also, for people who want to give more, then obviously there are a lot more options as well. They can enter, they can buy something through a contextual shop, or the other type of lottery, or auction, or raffle, or make a donation, for example. So there are always other means that you can generate money from the people who want to give more. Okay, but again, this is about long-term income generation over time, incorporating as many people as possible, not just a select few. Okay. Now let's go down to the sale start and end dates. Again, you can hide the sale start and end dates. Um, but for long-term draws, you would just specify a start time and an end time well into the future. Okay, so you can select that, and you know you can just put something well into the future. Okay. Now, so with these variables, essentially what we've got is we've set up a monthly lottery that's going to draw at the end of each month. Supporters will be notified. The ticket price is reasonable. We've limited the number of tickets to take into account not only the people who can give a lot of money, but the people who can give a less amount of money, and therefore over time, you have more supporters, in the members lottery, and you can buy tickets whenever throughout the period. Okay. So that means that if you're running this lottery over, say, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I can join the lottery whenever I want to within the sales start and end dates. Now, by law, we need to put promoter details. So let's just put those. Now, the promoter details will be communicated via the email receipts that are sent out when people purchase tickets. So every month, when a direct debit is renewed that pays for the tranche of lottery tickets that somebody will buy, they'll be reissued with an email, a new email, and these details will be communicated on that email. So let's press create there. And as we know with our platform as well, we assign a campaign or multiple campaigns to the members lottery page. And again, using the campaign mechanism, you can have different members lotteries for different campaigns or purposes. So, I could set up a members lottery for we are replacing the playground, whatever that means, or just for people's fundraising in general. Or I can have a members lottery that whereby I maybe split the payment, say 16%, and the rest to the other one. Okay. So in this case, I'm just going to add 100% and then press continue. Um, Now we finish off by starting to enter our lottery prizes. Now, again, most people relate Club 100, Club 250 lotteries to a share of income, but your members' lotteries can be anything they want. So let's just do a 30% prize share in the first instance. Again, you would reword it in some other fashion. You can also associate an image as well to a prize. You specify how many of these prizes are there. So again, if this was a first prize, you may say there's one of these, and you specify what type it is. So it's either a fixed prize like £100 or something, or percentage price or other. And then we put that in, and then we assign it to our page. So really very quickly, what we've now done is we've created a fully functional members lottery page. Again, you can embed YouTube videos, Flickr slideshows. You can change the theme, as you know, with people's fundraising. It's communicated when things are drawn. We're going to refine this in actual fact, and put the actual draw date on here, and then the period that the draw will cover. Through feedback, always give your feedback, and we refine. And then it says how much the lottery ticket is, and then the prize. Okay, so that's it took me a couple of minutes to set that up, and then as a supporter now I can click on that, and I can select how many tickets I want, and it will tell me how many per direct debit. I select my commencement date, I input my details, and essentially I set up the direct debit. Okay. Now you'll notice that we also give the offline option. This is for people who give you cash, check, bank transfer. as opposed to setting up a direct debit. And you can register somebody to enter a current draw as opposed to a regular draw. So if somebody gives you £5 and you click offline, um, and they've given you £15 worth of tickets, you input, and maybe they've given you cash, you input their details into the system and they will be entered into that current draw period as opposed to future draw periods. Okay. Now we will be extending, I don't know, we will be extending the members lottery to also have the ability that you can pay with Google Pay, Apple Pay, and debit card, not credit cards, because that's not allowed in the UK, uh, to enter the current draw period. Now, the reason why we're going to do that we haven't done it initially because we think it's going to confuse people initially, but the reason why we're going to do that is as you develop that communication with your supporters, more supporters are going to enter the members lottery. There are going to be times when maybe you're generating a lot of money, and so you're going out there on your social media, or you're sending out emails saying, the members lottery is doing really well. It's had this amazing impact within the organization. And if you want to enter maybe the Christmas draw, you don't need to sign up for a regular thing if you want, but you can enter the Christmas draw, and it's going to have a certain, we're going to add an extra prize to the Christmas draw or something like that. So we're going to give your supporters the ability that they can enter, individual draws within the recurring as well. Right. So we've seen how we can now set up really quickly a standard or typical members lottery. Okay, so I go set up my direct debit for £3 a month. I select 5 tickets each month. The system will either email me that I've won something or not, and I can buy at any point in time from the start to whenever the members lottery is closed into the future. Okay, but there are more interesting things now we can do with this setup. So let's look at, for example, an exclusive draw to begin with. Okay. Now, what is an exclusive draw using the same, variables we have to play with? Okay, so what an exclusive draw is, you retain the frequency, and so maybe you're drawing every month, or in this case, let's do every week. No, let's keep it at every month. Okay. So you retain the draw frequency. However, what you do is you start to play around with these variables a little bit more. So instead of having a large amount of tickets, you may restrict it to a very small amount of tickets, say 100, but you would also put the ticket price up, really quite high. Okay. Now, the other thing you would do in terms of an exclusive lottery, you would also restrict the sales, or you can also restrict the sales start and end date. Interesting enough, because you've only got 100 tickets, you can actually keep the sales start and end date open-ended, and there are only ever going to be 100 tickets available. Okay. But you can also say we're going to run an exclusive lottery whereby it's £20 per ticket. There are only 100 tickets, and you can only buy the tickets within the first month of the lottery. Okay, so it becomes super exclusive. Okay, now what the impact of this is that especially the people who want to give a lot, what you've created here is, I'm really bad at maths, but what's 100 times 20? Anyway, £2,000 or something, I don't know. Anyway, so what you've got here is you've got really good odds of winning regularly at a reasonable price that's exclusive to you. So let me just calculate that. What is 20 100? Okay, so it is £2,000. So, for example, you've got, if this was a 50% split, then each month you would have a 1 in 100 chance of winning £1,000, and that's amazing odds. Okay, it's a lot better odds than a national lottery. And not only is it better odds, the odds are static throughout the period. Okay, they remain unchanged. Okay, and that's really important for supporters as well. If they know they've always got 1 in 100 chance of winning £1,000, that's amazing. Now with the open-ended lottery, um, your chances of winning depend on how many people are in the draw. So, for example, you start your lottery and maybe 100, well, maybe 10 people have purchased 10 tickets. You've got 1 in 10 chance of winning. Okay, even, it could be £1 though, but then all of a sudden 500 people are in the lottery. Now you've got 1 in 500 chance. So the open-ended lottery, the chance of winning um, decreases, although the amount, especially if you're doing a percentage share, but the amount of money you can win increases over time, whereas exclusive draws, the chance of winning remains the same over time. Okay, so it's a really nice different type of draw that you're a different um, faction of your supporter base would engage in a lot more. Okay, so I can imagine what a lot of non-profits and charities will do is they will have their ongoing draw. There'll be lots of tickets, and the prices, sorry, the chance of winning, you know, decreases over time. And then you may run one or two of these exclusive draws. Maybe you would have the Christmas exclusive draw, that run. So, you would have 100 people who sign up. And by the way, this is still recurring. So although people would sign up just within the Christmas period, this is still recurring, each month. Okay. And then you can either decide to continue like an exclusive draw, especially if everyone signs up and people remain signed up, or you can close the draw if a certain amount of people stop their direct debits for the exclusive draw. Okay, so really play around with these variables. Don't just offer your supporters the typical or expected draw. Make it as interactive as and interesting as you possibly can. Okay, so let's continue with this. Now, the other thing with lotteries is that you can play around with the prizes you're offering as well. So at the moment, I'm running my exclusive members lottery. It's £20 a ticket. I'm out of the sale start and end date actually. Now, why would you want to, and what's the use case whereby you add or remove prizes? Okay, so one scenario, well, it's all about, again, keeping supporter engagement and giving yourself a reason to go back to your supporter base and have a conversation with them. Okay, so again, you've got one scenario whereby you just set up your members lottery page and you never talk to your supporters anymore. Every now and again, you may email the link to your members lottery via social media or via your website, and people sign up. But again, that's missing the chance to go out to your supporter base. So, which, irrespective if you do an exclusive lottery or not an exclusive lottery, you may, for example, have a corporate partner who's interested in supporting you. They may not be able to give you access to their employees. They may not have money to give you, but maybe, I don't know, I always talk about toasters. Maybe they're a manufacturer of toasters and they want to commit some toasters to help you fundraise. So as you're running your members lottery, you create another prize. Okay, add a prize and toaster from our company partner. So what I'm doing here, I'm just creating a prize that's a toaster from the company partner. You may put some advertising here about, how the company partner is supporting you and whatnot. Maybe they're going to give you, I don't know, 10 toasters, and therefore maybe you're going to distribute those 10 toasters to each draw. And so this will be an example of another draw. Okay. And now, if I look at the lottery page, it's now got the toaster from the company partner. But the important thing is that when this lottery is now drawn, the system will allocate the two toasters that I've assigned to the lottery, and then you distribute the toasters. But importantly, this gives you an opportunity to not only potentially connect with your company partners to get them interested in fundraising, but for you to go out to your supporter base and say, you know, that members lottery, we talk about it occasionally, and you've signed up a year ago. We've got this really cool prize that you can win. And even if they don't sign up for any more tickets, you've had an engagement with your supporter base. But also, because you're going out and you've got a reason to communicate with your supporter base, you may also get some new supporters into your members lottery. Okay. Now, when you do things like add and remove prizes, the only thing you need to do is, for example, if you've exhausted the amount of toasters that you've got, just make sure that you remove it from the members lottery when you haven't got any more toasters, or of the associated prize. Okay, so you'd log in, you go to members lottery, update or delete, and you just remove it from your members lottery. Okay. All right, so that's how we think charities and non-profits are going to use the lotteries. Again, the basic standard recurring never-ending members lottery, but also the specialized more exclusive lotteries as well, really exciting, really interesting for your supporter base, and also where you can add and remove prizes over time irrespective if it's exclusive or not. Okay. So let's just go through some of the other standard things you can do with the platform as well. So when people purchase members lottery tickets, they're going to get an email, of course, and you can add wording to that email address. So if you click here as well, you can see the email template that they will get. So dear first name, last name, you have bought X member lottery tickets from the website. It tells you when the next draw date is. And then it gives a table of promoter details and the ticket numbers. So as this is initially a direct debit based system, the system will send out this email each month or each week, depending on the frequency that a supporter has bought their tickets. Now, notice here, you've got the email notification message. So you can add wording to the email that goes out if you update the email notification message, and you access that by, on your page, clicking more and then clicking add an email notification message. Okay, so if you type some text there with maybe some hyperlinks, again, you're just communicating what you need to communicate. This is an opportunity again to have a conversation, extend the communication with your supporter base. You can update this at any time. So even though your members lottery may last a year, 2 years, always keep this sort of information updated. You could put some text here about the impact the members lottery is having on the organization, or if you're running a members lottery and you're also going to maybe sell tickets from events via People's Fundraising and hold a raffle at the same time, you can put that information in that email as well. So use these email communications, use every touch point with your supporters to not only, maybe thank them for ending the members lottery, but to extend that communication with your supporter base. Now, when people buy things from the members lottery, they're going to go to a thank you page as well. So it's a very basic thank you page at the moment. Thank you. You have bought X number of members lottery tickets from the page. We can use this page again to develop the relationship more with our supporters. So we can, a bit similar to the email notification message, we can add a notification message. Again, this is just adding wording to that thank you page. So this is a notification message. Again, what we want to do, we want to take every opportunity we can to communicate with our supporters to extend that relationship. So that message will now appear on the thank you message, on the thank you page. Okay, again, it could be anything. It could be a link to your annual report, or an impact statement, or a link to your social media account whereby you're having the conversation with your supporters. Okay. So you can also add the questionnaire. Again, this is a way you can elicit feedback from your supporters, and you can ask any type of question and elicit feedback in terms of a multi-select list or a list or number or date, time, or true or false. So how old are you? I don't know why you would ask how old you are, but it is just an example. Do you, what do you choose? And I'm going to ask them to enter a multi-select, this, that, the other, or yes or no. Let's add a yes or no. And what is your name? Free text. Okay, so I've now added that questionnaire asked in the order that it's given here to my thank you page. And if I now look at my thank you page, the questionnaires asked per purchase. Again, this is extending the utility of the Members Lottery, or these features are available via all of our pages, because again, fundraising is an activity. It's not just an endpoint activity where you push the Members Lottery out there and you forget it. You should think about, once somebody's made a purchase, made a donation, bought something from the raffle, bought something for the Members Lottery, bought something for the shop, how can you extend that relationship? How can you develop that relationship? So I'm asking a questionnaire because I'm interested in what the supporter is, and what their preferences are, so I can send them something or communicate something more relevant in the future. Okay. Now, the final thing we have on the thank you page is called the e-card. Okay, so e-cards are amazing. So I'm a supporter. I go and buy something in the Members Lottery, or buy some tickets from the Members Lottery, and I'm really excited about it. And I want to communicate that to my own supporter base that you don't have direct access to. So I can set up an e-card. Oh, need to update that. And an e-card is essentially a way that after I've purchased something, I can send an email to a family, friend, etc., with a predefined template that I can add some wording to. Okay, so it's a way that I can, well, I'll show the example. I could email my wife and I can say, do you want to enter the Members Lottery at the same time? Okay, so if I just set that. Now, if I now look at my thank you page, it's, yes, we've got the notification message on, yes, we've got the questionnaire, but now we've got the e-card. Okay, so if it tells you what it does, but essentially I put in the details of who I want to send something to, and they will send the email template that you've defined previously. So, hi, recipient name, Nathan has sent you an e-card. This is the message I'm going to type in here. And again, I've got the link to the Members Lottery. So it's a really proactive way of you being able to reach a network that otherwise you wouldn't have access to. So you have access to your direct supporter base, and this gives your supporters the ability to forward that on. So the example I always give is wife at hotmail.com, honey, Great lottery. So then I would enter this and I would send the e-card, and that would go straight to my wife. She would receive this, and then she'll just click on that, and then she'll herself would enter the Members Lottery or raffle or shop or donation page. Okay, so extending your members lottery, don't just think about it as an endpoint. Think about how you can use these other related tools to bring more people in to the members lottery, but extend that conversation. Now, in terms of exclusive lotteries, so if you have a long running lottery, you'll probably publish this specific URL. Okay, it's going to exist for several years. You can sign up whenever you want. But when it comes to exclusive lotteries, you may do, I don't know, one or two a year or something like that. Now, the problem with pushing out a QR code or a link to an exclusive lottery, say via social media, or again, the QR code for physical posters, is that if I click on one maybe from a year, I'm going to go to a page that either doesn't exist anymore, or the members lottery is closed. Okay, so we use short linking to get around that problem. Okay, so if this was an exclusive lottery, okay, I'd create a short link. So essentially, a short link is essentially a shorter version of the long link. Okay, so instead of going to members and then / exclusive lottery, it's peoplesfundraising.com / exclusive lottery, or whatever you would want it to be. And if this is a branded platform, this would be your domain and with a QR code. Okay, so it essentially shortens the link. Okay, now the other utility of this, and this is a really powerful feature, is that again, if you send out the link to your exclusive lottery and I click on it from a post 2 years ago, I'm going to go to a page that doesn't exist. So if you are running multiple exclusive lotteries over time, what you would want to do is if you do the second exclusive lottery, firstly, you would publish this link to the exclusive lottery, and when you do your second exclusive lottery, you would remove this short link from this exclusive lottery and add the same short link to the next exclusive lottery. And that means that you're only ever publishing one URL. And if I clicked on a link that was 2 years old, because I've now associated with it with the current lottery, I'll be sent to the current exclusive lottery. Okay, so it's a really powerful mechanism, short linking. Okay, that's sort of it. Really quick overview there of members lotteries. Oh, actually, before I go, let's talk about the reports. Sorry, don't want to miss that off. So, as ever, the quick statistics on the left-hand side here will show you the last 2 weeks of activity for number of items purchased, and also I think this is the gross amount. And in the reports section, again, we have the standard reports. If we go down, you have your members lottery ticket purchase report. So this will tell you the actual tickets purchased. This will include obviously offline payments in a few weeks' time, debit, credit card ones. So the majority of these will be via direct debit. And then you can download the lottery prize report again to see who's won what prizes for each draw period. And if you're asking a questionnaire, you download the members lottery questionnaire report. Okay. And again, you can just incorporate these into your normal workflow process. So again, if it was a monthly draw, every month the system would email you who's won what, so you could action those emails, or every month you could just sign in, click on the download of members lottery prize reports, and download and see who's won what, and then contact them proactively. Now, the information that's conveyed in the lottery prize report is obviously which prize has been won, the associated ticket, the title, first name, last name, email address, and telephone number of the winning person. So you've really got all the contact details that you need to proactively go and contact that person, get them excited, get them interested, and just engage with them again, and obviously give them their prize. Okay, so I think that's it. I think members lotteries are going to be just really a great addition. I mean, it's. I think this is going to overtake the regular donation ask. So, as you know, with, for example, donation pages, I don't know if there are any donation pages or not. Okay, let's not do that. So with donation pages, you can ask for a monthly donation or a weekly donation or 2 weekly donation, or a yearly donation. The reason why I think this members lotteries will overtake the regular donation ask is because you can engage more with your supporters. It's more interesting because your supporters can potentially receive something back at the same time as supporting you. It really helps to get over that donation fatigue that occurs when the only thing you're doing is asking for donations. Okay, right. So I think that's it for today. And any questions? at all on that.
Hi there. Yeah, I've got a couple of questions.